Hey, I'm Gav from Gav Takes Photos, and today we're going to be taking a look at what is in my camera bag for 2025. So let's get into it. Let's start with the bag first. The big... This is a Low Pro, and I believe it's the Fast Pack bag. I like this bag because it has so many pockets. You've got a nice little filter pocket here, big opening on the side for your camera gear. You've got another little pocket up here which you can now use for more filters. I've got a lot of filters. And you've got the massive top pocket as well, and that fits all the extra little bits and pieces like the cables and what have you, and extra batteries. But it also has a nice little laptop compartment down the side, and although I don't carry a laptop all that often, when I do it is nice to be able to put it all into one big bag and travel with your whole kit in this absolute monster of a bag. This one is getting a bit long in the tooth. I probably will replace it towards the end of the year, but for now, this thing has been with me for the best part of almost 3 years now, so it's done its time. And it's holding up to all the camera gear this has held over the years, and this has held a lot of camera gear over the years. So let's... Probably going to regret doing that later, but hey, it's done now! Okay, so I actually keep a couple of cameras in my main camera bag most of the time. So we're going to start with the B cam. I'm going to start with this one here. This is the Olympus EP5. Lovely little camera, this one. I just recently picked up this tiny little lens, if it will focus. There we go. This tiny little pancake lens. I love this thing. This genuinely fits in a pocket, and you just flip it on and boop. I like that. It's a power zoom as well, which is interesting. I've not had a power zoom since the early days of having point and shoots, but yeah, like this little camera. This is great, this one. This is actually good for doing time lapses. It's got a time lapse feature, so if I'm out and about, I can set this up on a tripod somewhere off to one side, and this will just be shooting a time lapse of the scene while I'm out doing my main thing. And that's pretty much what I use this for, and just a general travel camera. But it's so small that it fits in the side pocket of the bag, and you wouldn't even know it was there. It's that small, and that's why this one comes everywhere with me in the big camera bag when I'm not just shooting with this one. Now, on to the main camera I carry in the bag. We're going to be talking about this. The Olympus EM1 Mark III. This camera is my do-it-all, go-everywhere camera. I've made a couple of modifications to it. I've added the, if you can see it there, the eye cup is actually bigger than standard. It stands out more, gets a better seal to your face. And I've got the L bracket on it, which is so useful when you're shooting landscapes like I typically do, or cityscapes. You can just bop, bop, and essentially the line of sight stays the same, but it just changes from horizontal to vertical, and that's really useful. Interesting thing I do with this now, I know it kind of gets in the way a little bit. If you can see it on the bottom there, there it is. That little clip there allows this to attach to my backpack. I've got the little mount here, so the camera typically stays there when I'm out and about for easy access. You just unclip it, get it off, take your shots, put it back on again. Having that with the L bracket is a little bit overkill, I will admit, but that's the setup I've got. I've used this on all sorts of shoots over the years, whether it be just landscape or astrophotography. I've shot some events with this, I've shot a wedding with this, and it just has not let me down. It is the go-to, do-everything camera that I just love using. All the buttons are in the right place as well, everything is just easy to reach, and it is a great little camera that fits in the bag nice and snugly. So yeah, like that camera, like that a lot. You go back over there. Now, drones. Drone wise, I do actually carry a drone with me most places. it is a little bit of a pain, the one I've got. So we had to take a look at that here. This is the DJI Mavic Air, the first one. And we're gonna extend those out there. Again, lovely bit of kit, this one. Very capable drone, even if it is getting on in the ears a bit now. The only downside to this is it's not a sub 250 gram drone, which does limit you in where you can shoot this. That has been a pain. Obviously you need the extra license or whatever it is. I forget the exact term for it now, but there is an extra test you need to take in order to be able to use this in most places, and even then you're limited. So ideally I want to replace this with one of the minis, but given how little I actually use this compared to all the rest of my gear, this has been the last thing to get upgraded. And I don't know that I'm going to upgrade it anytime soon either, because the footage that comes out of this and the images that come out of this are still fine. It shoots 4K, it shoots 12 megapixel stills. More would be better, but again, I don't think there's many mini DJIs that actually shoot more than that, which aren't like break the bank expensive. So for now, this is going to be staying with me. And yeah, what's nice is though, it does fold up into a tiny little package. Fits into this nice little box here. That fits into the top of my camera bag, and it doesn't really take up any space. The controller also folds flat as well, which is very useful. Everything pops out like this, and you just pull the bottom out like so. And you got the actual controller pieces under here slotted underneath. That's very useful, they don't catch on top in your bag. Everything packs away nice and neatly, and it's just a nice little setup to carry with you. Again, the mini would be nice to have, but it's not a need, it's a want, so I haven't upgraded. What I do have for that drone though is these. These are the Polar Pro ND filters that fit this drone. Obviously, if you want to be shooting the proper shutter speeds while out shooting your videos with your drone, you're gonna need a pack of ND filters. Again, this this isn't really a need as such, because the drone footage still looks fine without them, but it's just one of those things that makes your footage look better than other people who don't use these. And just small little things like that can make a huge difference and make your footage stand out from everyone else's. Ooh, what do we go to next? Maybe lenses. Lens-wise, in my main camera bag, I don't carry that many lenses anymore. I used to when I shot other systems. I used to carry loads of lenses. I'd have every zoom, the Trinity, and I'd have a load of primes as well. And that would take up so much space. It would be so heavy to carry around on a day-to-day basis. It was mad. But since switching over to the Micro Four Thirds system, I've managed to whittle it down. There's two main lenses which stay in the bag, and they have done for the past 2.5 years. And I kind of switch the others out as and when I need it. But this is my go everywhere, do everything lens. This is the 12-100 f4 Pro from Olympus, or now OM System. This little bad boy is amazing. So 12-100mm, if you're shooting full frame, that is the equivalent to a 24-200. And this is an f4 all the way through with IS and weather sealing, which is insane. It extends, which is fine, because given the range that you get out of this, it's going to extend. So this is just absolutely mad. When you pair this with one of the Olympus bodies that has IBIS in it, you get Sync IS, and that has allowed me to get some mad shutter speed times. Like so far I've got up to 4 seconds handheld and it's been sharp. The only reason I haven't tried more is because I haven't needed to. 4 seconds handheld has been plenty enough. but I reckon I could probably do more, and I should really test it out. Maybe I'll test it out. I'll do a nighttime shoot somewhere where we won't bring the tripod. That's terrifying, but yeah, we won't bring the tripod, and we'll go do a nighttime shoot. What I do like about this lens also is the manual focus clutch, the bop, bop. You're in manual, you're in auto. A lot of companies are taking away the ability to turn autofocus on and off on the lenses. I'm not really sure why. I guess it makes it sleeker and nicer, but having the ability just to switch so easily, like you want to make a little micro adjustment, it's just boop, boop. Super easy. But like, obviously I mostly shoot landscape photography. I'd shoot a bit of cities here and there, and not having to switch out lenses when you need to go from 24 to 200 is game changing. You essentially, you could get away with just this, and that's it. This could be the only lens on your camera, and for the most part you'd be fine. You want to shoot anything wider, you shoot a pano. But I do have more lenses in the bag. On to the next one. Speaking of which, this bad boy here. This is a chunky one. So this is the Olympus 7-14mm f2.8 Pro. This is actually the first lens I got for Micro Four Thirds. Bit of a weird one to start with, but I saw this one come up for cheap when I was shooting Sony, and I already knew I was going to switch to this brand, and I figured I'm just going to get it. So that is how I got this one first. Again, this is fully weather sealed and everything. Full frame terms, it's an equivalent of 14 to 28. It's f2.8 all the way through. It has the manual clutch, just like its bigger brother, the one I normally use, the 12 to 100. Super useful. I use this for astro mostly because of the f2.8 and the fact it's nice and wide. You can get the whole Milky Way in the sky, and it's just been super useful for that sort of stuff. But it does also come in useful if you're shooting architecture around the city, because this keeps the lines pretty straight as far as ultra wides go. I've used some dodgy ultra wides in the past where they say they're rectilinear and they say they don't bow the edges, but you look around the outside and it's like, whoa, all the way around the outside, everything's curved and horrible, and it takes a bit of post-processing to get that back again. This one, not so much. This one's actually been really good. Only downside to this is it does catch the light quite badly on that big bulbous front element there. So even if you're not directly looking at a light, if you've got one to the side and it comes in, it will catch that and you will get lens flares. But again, absolutely outstanding lens. It can handle all the weather conditions. Both of these lenses here have handled stupid weather conditions, quite frankly. Stuff that I wouldn't put a normal camera brand through. But this stuff has just kept going. And these are the main two lenses in the bag which don't change. They always stay there. They're always in the bag. And I know I can get the shot with these. Right, on to the lenses that do change in the camera bag. I've got this, just did a video on this. It's the Yongnuo 25mm f1.7. I like this little lens. It's a little plasticky, but it's been serving its purpose perfectly well. I've shot, like I said in the video, I shot a wedding with this. I shot events with this. It's been a handy little lens to have. And it's, again, it's not particularly big, so it does just kind of slot in and you can just chuck it in the bag and not really have to care about how much space it takes up, because it doesn't actually take up that much space. Another prime lens I do carry with me, now this one, this is special. So, this is the Olympus 45mm f1.8. This is a special little lens on Micro Four Thirds. This lens punches way, way above the cost of this lens. Like, the image quality that comes out of this is astounding. For the size and the price this is, it's absolutely amazing. When I shoot full frame, my favourite lens is an 85mm. This is as close to it as I'm going to get. And I just love this little lens. This is the second copy I've had. I've actually sold the first copy originally, and regretted it so much I went out and bought another one. And that's how much I like this lens. And I absolutely recommend anyone shooting Micro Four Thirds, grab yourself an Olympus or OM System 45-1.8, chuck it in the bag. Even if you don't use it, it's still there. It's nice to have. But when you do need it and you use it, you'll be like, okay, I get it, it's a good little lens. So yeah, definitely recommend one of these. These are absolutely fantastic to have with you. And check this out. So in my camera bag, all the lenses slot down into little areas. You can see the two primes slot into the same space that one zoom takes up. Now that's space saving for you. Something else I do carry in the camera bag, it doesn't get used that often at all to be honest, but it's still there, it's still nice to have. I've got a mount adapter. This is a speed booster from Comlight, and this allows me to adapt my Canon lenses over to my Olympus bodies. Admittedly, I don't use it all that often, but when I do, it has worked okay. Entirely okay. It's a little bit hit and miss. If you're shooting anyone that's moving, it's not going to work. But it has allowed me to use my 85 and my 35 on my Olympus bodies, and I love my 85 1.4. So having that be usable on the Olympus bodies is fantastic. Gets you a little bit longer focal length and keeps the 1.4 aperture, and it's just it's just allowed me to use different Canon lenses on the system. But like I said, I don't really use it that often. But it's there just in case, you know. I probably should take it out of the bag, but it doesn't take up enough space for me to care. So there's that. Filters. Now I've got a little interesting thing here. So I carry way too many filters. I know I carry way too many filters. Everyone who knows me knows I carry way too many filters. I've got this pack here. You can see it's labelled 77mm because that is the size of the filters inside. In here I've got my Tide Optics filters. I've got the CineSoft filter, I've got the circular polarizer, and I've got the variable ND. And I will use these just out and about. If I'm shooting video, use the variable ND. If I'm shooting a little bit of waterfalls here and there, I use the polarizer, and I use the CineSoft one every now and then. Not as often as I used to because I kind of don't like it that much anymore, that look, but it's still there in case I want to get the glowy looking highlights in the city streets, because that is primarily where I'd be using that. It doesn't really have much use anywhere else, and now I can't get the damn thing done up, so slide that off to one side. Big boy filters now. So I do actually, if you ignore the fact that that says KF Concept, because none of the filters in there are KF Concept, it just happens to be the best carry box for them essentially. I've got a massive polarizer. This thing is huge, 105mm. It goes on my square filter system from Lee. Again, I don't have any Lee filters, so kind of null and void. I do have this. This hasn't actually been used, and it looks like it's growing mold. So that is very potentially just going to go straight in the bin now. Glad I caught that before it got too bad. That is that's a diffusion filter. Don't really know why I got it, but I just kind of wanted it, and now I can see it's growing mold. It's just going to go in the bin. So goodbye diffusion filter, you are gone. This one, on the other hand, oh, I like this one. This is a 10-stop filter. Now, 10-stop filters are great if you want to slow down the time you're shooting. You want to get those nice, creamy looking waterfalls, and you get the clouds wisping in the sky. That is what that is good for. And you can get them in this form, in the little circle ones. But I wanted this because I have built an adapter to go on the 7 to 14mm that allows me to fit these onto it. And you're probably thinking you don't really need the filters because you've got inbuilt live ND in the camera. Sometimes it's too bright outside, and sometimes you do need a little bit extra. So that is why they are there. A filter I do have, which isn't here, kind of worrying where I've left that, is I do have a Grad ND as well. Again, I don't really use it that often anymore. The dynamic range on this camera is good enough that I don't really need it anymore, and if it is pushing it too much, most of the time I'll just shoot a couple exposures and blend them in post. Getting the big old filter kit out is a pain. I'm not gonna lie, it is a bit of a pain. So this stuff doesn't really get used that much. That's why I'm still really annoyed about that. But that is going to go in the bin now. That's the filters over and done with. Like I said, KF Concept Box Lee Filter Foundation Set. That's the name of it. That's the one I actually attached to the lenses, and I use just a random bunch of different brands when it comes to the filters. Whatever's not cheapest, because you don't want to skimp out on filters, because what's the point in having thousands of pounds worth of gear and then sticking a 20p bit of plastic in front of the lens. But I get ones that are semi-decent quality. We're not going for like the hundreds and hundreds of pounds, we're just going for what works, essentially. That mold's really irritating me. One of the questions I do get a lot on a few of the videos actually recently is what camera I'm using to shoot the video with. Now, this has changed a lot over the years. Like I switch up the vlog camera way too often. At the moment we're shooting this on the Canon RP. That was originally supposed to be the vlogging camera, but carrying two systems in the camera bag was a bit of a pain, so I've given that to my wife now. I don't really use that camera anymore. What I have been using recently, so if you've seen any of the vlogs pretty much shot between I think like October up to now, they've all been shot on this, the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Bit of a letdown, I know, but this little phone shoots such high quality video that it's just easier to use it, essentially. It's just, the video quality it outputs is more than good enough for YouTube vlogs, and if you really want to push it, you can go ProRes, you can shoot log, but I don't really see the point in shooting those for YouTube vlogs. If you want to do something super high quality, by all means do it, but the file sizes are just ridiculous. But the standard video profile on this, the standard output, is absolutely fine. You can do 4K 120 with this, which is a really nice feature. Get a few of those slow-mos in there. And also, obviously you noticed the case. It's got a attachment on the back here. So what that allows me to do is I have got a filter adapter here that just slots on. See if I can do it without looking at it. Yep, I can. That slots on like that, and that allows me to attach the circular filters I've got, or even if I really wanted to get a bit spicy, I could attach the larger Lee system to it, but I'm not going to do that because that would be insane and it looks stupid and defeat the whole purpose of this being a mobile camera, because that would make it immobile. When I am using it, I use this. It's a Ulanzi, I think it's pronounced. Ulanzi adapter. I've just stuck that on an old L bracket, and that actually has a hot shoe mount on top, which allows me to attach the Rode Video Mic Go 2, which I'm using over there, to the top of it to allow me to get the better audio quality than what you can get as standard. The standard audio in the iPhone is actually pretty good these days, but if you can get better, why not? Why not? Weird little accessories I carry with me. I've got a little rocket blower, so everyone should carry one of these. They're just useful. There was one time, way back, when I was sort of just getting back into photography again. I had my 5D out in London, awesome sunset colours over the Houses of Parliament. Everything looked amazing, and the image was full, and I mean full, of dust spots. Not even like little ones that you get those little dots up here. No. Massive bits of dust all over the filter, all over the sensor, and those shots were all ruined. I tried to clone them out in post, but back then it wasn't as easy as it is now with the generative fill. It didn't work, and all the images were just not good. I do still have those raw files though, so if I go over those with the new AI stuff in Lightroom, it might actually clean them up. But let's not get to that point. Let's carry one of these in your camera bag. If you see any bits of dust in there, if you're just swapping over lenses, give it a quick clean off that sensor and just make sure you got no dust in there, because dust ruins images. Now if you shoot video, good luck. If you got a bit of dust on there, that's huge. Good luck removing that in post. It's possible, but it's not easy. I think this is a little bit more of a specialist bit of kit. So I've got this tiny little filter here. Now, I'm going to murder the pronunciation of this, 2 seconds. Okay, here goes. So get out of this little adapter there. Again, step up, step down rings. Got tons of these. These are absolutely vital. We'll talk about those in a second though. A Bartnov mask? I know I've got that wrong. But that's not important. What is important is what this does. So if you're shooting astrophotography like I do quite often, this will help you get pin sharp stars. This needs a whole video on its own, to be honest. But basically what it does is it allows you to line up, there's different lines that come into the stars, and if you line them all up right, you get all the spikes coming out in the right area. Like I said, that kind of needs its own video to explain everything and show you, but essentially it's for astrophotography, helps you get sharp stars. Very useful little bit of kit if you shoot astro like I do quite often. Touched on this a second ago. Step up and step down rings. These will save you money. So essentially what they are is they are adapters for your filters. I buy all my filters in 77mm because initially that was the biggest lens I had. I've got an 82 on this one, but didn't plan on getting that. So I get 77mm filters, and I use these step-up rings to make those filters fit smaller mounts or smaller lenses. This one is a 52 to 77, so it'll take your 77mm filter and it'll shrink it down to a 52mm filter thread. So let's see, how big is this one? This one's 52 as it happens, so you screw that onto the front of the lens like so. It's a little bit skew gav, but it will do. It's just for showing off purposes. And then that allows you to fit your much larger 77mm filter on your 52mm lens, like so. So now you've got your large filter on your small lens. Very useful, because otherwise if you weren't using these adapters, you would have to buy filters. You'd have to buy filters in every size for every lens you own. That's not economical at all. That is a bad choice if you're doing that. Get your filters in the biggest size possible, or the biggest size you need, and then adapt them down to all your smaller lenses. That'll save you money. Battery died. Canon RP problems. That's part of the reason why I don't use you anymore, Canon RP. That was a full battery. It lasted about half an hour. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. As I was saying, use these, save yourself some money. Money is always good. Money can go towards other lenses and other little accessories you need. Do not waste it on buying filters in every size for every lens you have. It's a bad idea. Do it this way. Yes, it's a little bit more faff because you've got to screw this onto the lens and then screw the filter onto this, but faff is better than spending horrendous amounts of money on filters in every size for every lens you've got. That doesn't make sense. So, a little bit of advice there. Speaking of batteries, I do actually only carry one spare battery for my EM1 Mark III. The battery life on this thing it's been so good, so reliable. I've only ever needed 2 batteries for an entire day. Even then, I pretty much only ever use one. But yeah, I carry 2 just in case. Never needed to go to the second one unless I haven't charged the first one in a while, but yeah, I carry 2 just in case. Well, let's talk about this. When I had the RP, I think I had 5 or 6 batteries and you would go through those in a day. You would. But yeah, no, not anymore. Not anymore. So that pretty much sums up everything that's in my camera bag for 2025. Let me know in the comment section below what you carry in your camera bag this year. Always interested to know what people are using, what they're shooting with, and yeah, I've got to pack all this away now. Oh dear. Oh well, I'm gonna go pack my bag away, so I'll sign off. I've been Gav from Gav Takes Photos. I will see you in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Check your filters and your lenses for fungus. Ay. Anyway, see you in the next video. Bye.